In this problem, we are asked to simplify the difference quotient given the following function. So the function we're working with is f of x is equal to 5 minus x squared. And then the difference quotient is this formula right here. So all we're going to be doing is we're going to be plugging into this formula over here. And take a look at this. We already know what the value of f of x is. So you see over here we have the f of x, and right here this is what the value of f of x is. So we're ready to plug in there. We have an h, but really what we need to do is we need to find the f of x plus h. So we're going to take our original function, f of x equals 5 minus x squared, and to find the f of x plus h, what we're going to do is here, instead of an x, we're putting in x plus h. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this function f of x, and where we see that x, what do we replace it with? We replace it with the value x plus h. So I feel like this gives students some difficulty, so I just want to demonstrate this one more time. Again, where we had an x, we have an x here, we have an x here. So if we put an x plus h here, we need to put the x plus h there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to simplify. X plus h squared, this is going to be 5 minus, and then x plus h squared is just x plus h times x plus h. And I know you guys love doing this, but we're going to need a FOIL here, right? So this is going to be minus, x times x is going to be x squared, x times h is plus xh, h times x, again, we're not going to write hx, we're going to write xh as well, because those are the same thing. H times h is a positive h squared. And now please remember, this is all still in these parentheses. So the reason we need those parentheses is, you see, we're going to have to, right here, we're going to need to distribute the negative inside the parentheses. But before we do that, I'm going to clean this up and make this a little bit easier on ourselves to give us a little bit less to distribute. X plus h and x plus h gives us 2xh. So this is going to be 5 minus x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this. We think there's a little negative 1 out there. We assume there's a negative 1 out there. And we're going to distribute the negative inside here, and we're going to get 5 minus x squared plus, wait, that would be a minus 2xh. That's going to be a minus 2xh. And then negative 1 times h squared is, again, negative h squared. So is there anything else we can simplify? Take a look at this. I got a 5, a negative x squared. Nothing goes together, right? So what we have here is we have the value of, we figure out the f of x plus h is this right here. And you see it asks us to plug that into the formula right here. So I know that was a really long first step, but that's really going to help us get this difference quotient set up. So I'm going to bring this difference quotient over here. I'm going to pull this over here, and again, give myself a little bit more room because this is kind of a long problem. Let's make this off to the side. So now, what do I put in place for the f of x plus h? You see that I have this right here, and I have this value down here for the f of x plus h. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. When I substitute in here, I'm going to put it in parentheses. I think I might need to even give myself a little bit more room. All right, so it's going to be 5 minus x squared minus 2xh minus h squared, and that's minus, what's the f of x? Take a look over here. Let me get a different color. You see the f of x, we know it's given to us in the original problem. It's 5 minus x squared, so that's what I'm going to put right here. So it's going to be minus, again, don't forget those parentheses, 5 minus x squared, and that's all over the letter h. And now what we're going to do here is we are going to now distribute the negative sign just like we would do before. So we're going to bring the negative in here. And so I don't need any, I can go ahead and drop these parentheses on the left hand side for this one over here. So it's going to be 5 minus x squared minus 2xh minus h squared. And then negative 1 times a positive 5 is going to be a negative 5. And a negative 1 times a negative x squared is a positive x squared. And this is all over h. So again, this is the second step. Now let's see what cancels out. I've got a 5 and a negative 5. You see that those are going to cancel out. I've got a negative x squared and a positive x squared. Those are going to cancel out. And what we're going to be left with here is negative 2xh minus h squared over h. And then last thing I can do, you can see I can factor an h out of the numerator. It's going to be negative 2x minus, I take an h out of the top here, and I just get h, and that's all over h. Almost done here. Last step is I can cancel an h out, and so the difference quotient is going to be negative 2x minus h. And I know there was a lot going on there, but let's go ahead and just go back through the steps and see if we can figure out what we did. The first step is we found the f of x plus h, right? After we do the f of x plus h, we went ahead and plugged the values of f of x plus h and f of x in for the formula right here. You can see that in this step, what we did was we distributed the negative, then we factored out an h and canceled stuff out, and we got our final answer, which is negative 2x minus h. There's a lot of algebra going on, but I think if you practice this a few times, it should be okay.